Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, a first look at a couple of Thrunite products. Here we have the Archer 2A version 3 and the Archer Mini, which is a brand new model. Now, thank you very much to the people at Thrunite who did provide this for review. They sent these in order for me to take a look at them and specifically compare them to give you just an example of their full-size 2A version 3 versus the Mini. Now, both of these are going to be good, capable lights. I'm looking forward to checking these out, but with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you, and if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Thrunite who did provide these for review. So when the people at Thrunite reached out to see if I'd be interested in checking out their Archer Mini, I said absolutely, but I did want to see it against the Archer 2A, and again, this is the version 3, so this has been around for a little while, but they've had some iterations, and I think that's important because if you're trying to make the decision between a sort of more featured light and then the smaller mini version, where do you get the benefit? When do you want to go a little bit bigger? When do you want to go a little bit smaller? For me, I couldn't make up my mind, and I said, well, that could be the case for other customers too. So let's take a look at these together and try to draw some of those conclusions. And now the other thing about this video, I usually do my homework first and then get into a review, but this video is going to be the opposite. We're literally going to learn about all of this together. So if you've watched other videos on either one of these products, you're probably ahead of me. So we're going to get some impressions. I have no idea about form factor. I have no idea about the overall output and performance and programming. So this is going to be fun. Not the way I usually go about doing things, but that's how it's going to go this time for sure. Now, in terms of the packaging, pretty typical Thrunite packaging. Actually, that's the case for both of these. A lot of times, Thrunite with their larger products have sort of the more cardboard-looking package, and then on their smaller products, sort of more contained, and then in the white box. So that's exactly what we have here. Now, the first thing I can tell you, as we look at the Archer 2A, on the end of the box here, it does say that this is going to be in black. So they also offer metal gray. And then this is also in the cool white versus the neutral white. So this should be a slightly bluer light source coming off of that LED, which is just fine. I actually do like that when it comes down to my EDC lights. So that's going to be cool. And as we look at it here, nicely packaged inside. So removing everything, the light itself, we end up with the typical sort of spare O-ring, and actually in this case, tail cap button, switch cover, and then a lanyard. So that's definitely pretty standard for Thrunite. And then your informational pamphlet. So we'll take a look at this in a minute. But the actual light itself, the first thing I can tell you, this is extremely lightweight. I'm shocked at how light this is. That is definitely awesome. So it's a good quality lightweight option, and that's very refreshing. Now, part of that comes from the fact that I don't have any batteries installed just yet. This is going to be a 2 AA battery flashlight, so we'll get those installed, but generally speaking, very light. That is the first thing that catches my attention. 2 different switches, so the side switch and then also that tail switch. That's going to be nice, and typical Thrunite construction. Very well machined overall, and you can see that sort of intermediate pocket clip. That's going to be interesting, and that's what I'm curious about. Are we going to get to the point where we see that the Archer Mini, once we break it out, is really that bottom half? I'm not too sure, but that's what had me intrigued. So as you look at this, you can see a bezel down carry. Now you can theoretically flip this clip around from this side to this side, which would then make it bezel up carry while it's in your pocket, and then also potentially give you different clip options. This is not going to be that, hey, clip it to the brim of your hat type of option, where I think that is what you may get from the Archer Mini, but again, that will be something we learn together. As we get into this, I do need to get some batteries installed. Thrunite always doing a nice job with their threads. very smooth, no problem. And then getting that battery tube exposed. So let's grab a couple AA's and we'll drop them inside. These batteries are rechargeable, which don't always have the best performance versus just good, fresh, standard batteries, but at the same time, they'll be just fine for today. So as I thread this on, tail switch, there you go. So the tail switch, bumping this on, momentary press. So there you go, there's your momentary. So if you just half press there, no problem. So clicking it on, and now your side switch is going to go between the modes. So the Firefly mode here, this is 0.2 lumens, 15 days of runtime, single press on the side switch here. This is going to be the low mode. That's 17 lumens, 51 hours of runtime. Another press, 70 lumens. That's going to be 11 hours of runtime. And then your final press here, the high mode, that's going to be 500 lumens for 200 seconds and then dim down to 280 lumens for 120 minutes. Now, this does seemingly have a strobe mode, which if you long press the side switch, long pressing the side switch does get you into that strobe. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that. And then in terms of memory, we're going to go from Firefly to low, medium. Let's leave it there for a minute. Turn the light off and then come back into it. There you go. So it does have that memory mode and then the ability to long press into the strobe. Definitely nice. So this Archer, again, pretty lightweight, which I like. And then generally speaking, the performance looks like it's going to be pretty good. Getting a real quick look at the bezel and inside on that reflector, you can see a fairly deep reflector that has a bit of orange peel. So that's going to be a nice mix between quality throw, yet at the same time, good flood capability. That orange peel really working to diffuse the light. And then on the front of the bezel here, you can see it's a little bit aggressive, not too much, but at the same time, just enough to have a little strike capability if you need it. A light of this size, you definitely could do that if you had to use this. You get a full grip and the ability just to kind of pound on, something if you had to. Not that I'd want to, but as a self-defense mechanism or last-ditch effort, you certainly could. And then one last thing worth mentioning, well, I'm just going to bump that down to Firefly, and you can tail stand this. So tail standing working very well. You'll notice that the actual tail switch is recessed, so that works out pretty well. So overall, the Archer 2A version 3, definitely cool. But now let's bust out this Archer Mini. Again, where is this going to stack up against the sort of larger brother here? Well, as we bust this out of here, just bear with me. Again, keep in mind, I have not yet looked at this, nor any of the specs or anything like that. So pulling out the actual flashlight itself, here you can see a recharging cable, so that's cool. You can see this is going to be a USB Type-C, and then your informational pamphlet here will refer back to this in a minute, but first we're just going to get some impressions. And what I really thought is that we were going to see something more like the lower section of this, but in retrospect, in my mind, there was an Archer 1A, which would be the single A version of this light. So that's what would be pretty much the lower section here. Now, I believe that is discontinued at this point. So the 2A exists, and now comparing the Mini, that is like really mini compared to the full-size Archer 2A version 3. So the Mini here, definitely very small as we look at it, both in terms of the length, the diameter, very much smaller, but very pocketable. This tiny little light, this thing is cool. I do like it. As you look at it here, you can see the tail switch. So we're going to bump that on real quick, and that does come on. So as we cycle between the modes, a single press is going to turn the light on and off. And here, long press, well, that should... what's it doing here? So you kind of need to press quickly between the modes. So you end up with a single press to go into the low mode, double press that goes into the high mode, and I'm not convinced that there's anything in between. So whether you single press here or long press, it's basically going to turn the light on or off. So I'm going to take a real quick second here and we're going to look at the informational pamphlet. So low mode on a single press here, this is 18 lumens. This will run for 7.5 hours, so that's very good. And then a double press here, this is the high mode, which is 405 lumens. That will run for 2.8 minutes and then bump itself down to 157 lumens for 52 minutes. So pretty good performance in a little light like this. The fact that you get 7.5 hours at the 18 lumens, I think is actually really good. I always look for something that can run with a decent output. 7 hours plus, that to me is a key number for a number of reasons, most specifically being if I was in the wilderness and I had to get myself out of a situation, 7.5 hours of runtime should do that. So definitely very cool. And as we look at this here, unthreading this cap, well, that's exposing your USB Type-C connector. So definitely nice threads there, no problem. Reversible sort of clip here, you'll notice, and I don't really mean reversible. It's really, you can carry this bezel up or bezel down, and then of course clip this to a pack strap or a hat brim for that EDC purpose, which is cool. A very simple and straightforward light, not a lot to it, extremely pocketable and lightweight. This would almost disappear in your pocket, and it's actually maybe a little closer to a third pocket style in a way. Definitely nice. I like the fact that this is so small. And then again, comparing it against the Archer 2A, I did think these would be a little closer in size, but now looking at them, the Mini is far smaller just in terms of the diameter and of course the length there, so definitely nice. The clip is very good. I like these types of clips a lot. This works out very well. Seems to be pretty solid in terms of the ability to actually clip onto what you need or your pocket without getting snagged. And the one thing that I think people would potentially like out of this that you can't do is attach it to a key ring. This is really small enough where it gets to be a large size keychain flashlight, but it's small enough where you could do it and still get really good performance. So overall, the Archer Mini, definitely cool. But with that said, let's get these outside and we're gonna get into some beam shots. So out here with the Archer 2A, here you can see this is on that Firefly mode. So just a little bit of light here, not a whole heck of a lot. But as I press the button here, there is the low mode. So the low mode doing a nice job, just evenly illuminating. Now, not a ton of light, but definitely enough to get around. Another press of the side switch there. This is that medium mode. So as you can see, a nice beam starting to really illuminate. You get a little light up into the trees, but not a whole heck of a lot. This is going to be a nice general amount of light for most tasks. So the ability to really kind of see off into the distance, yet navigate as you need. Another press here. This is that high mode. So a good amount of light, nice beam quality. Now this is really getting up into the trees, illuminating off into the distance, and a good amount of throw. A long press here. That's that strobe mode. And then single press on that tail switch and off. Now the Archer Mini, as I press here, you can see maybe just enough light to start to beam off into the distance, but not a huge amount of throw. It is a fairly small amount of light overall. Double press here, that is your turbo mode. So the turbo mode actually pretty impressive for such a small light. You can see a reasonable hotspot in the middle, but pretty wide at the same time, and then some throw off to the sides. For a small light, this is a great amount of light overall. I'm actually pretty impressed for such a small light. This is doing a nice job. Another single press, and that's off. Now again, while I have it in my hands, here you can see the Mini. So again, you end up with a nice sort of, I'd say, mid-sized hotspot. It's not super tight, and it has a decent throw and cast off to the side. Double click here, that gets you to that turbo mode. So again, a nice amount of light and surprising amount of light for such a small little flashlight. Here you have the 2A in that Firefly mode. So as you can see, Again, just a little amount of light, but nice for most general reading tasks or up close tasks if you need it. Another press here, that's the low mode. This is going to be, again, perfect for general navigation and the ability to get around. Another press, that's that medium mode, a good general overall amount of light for most tasks, including looking off in the distance. And then another press here, that's getting you to that high mode. So a good throw, nice beam, good and bright, reasonable hotspot, but again, at the same time, a nice wide hotspot at that. Long press, that's the tactical strobe, tail switch, off. Now, what do these look like in terms of pocketability? Well, here, the Archer 2A version 3, you can see how low this clip is compared to the length of the body. If I was just to slide this in my pocket all the way down, it would actually go literally all the way down my pocket, no problem. And I would actually have the ability to potentially clip this right there, which I think might be cool, but this, for some reason, just sticks out all the way. I don't quite understand that. And can this clip be moved? So the question is, do I clip it up there? Yes, you can definitely do that. Now, this has the potential to slide up and down that tube, but you can do it. So to me, that's the more preferred method. Goes right in the pocket. That's comfortable, works very well, easy to get it in, easy to get it out. And I don't think that's going to be a problem. I really don't think this is going to slide around on me or cause any problem. And if anything, the nice thing is where that's smooth, it's not going to chew up my pocket at all. Now, this is not overly aggressive on the sort of ribbing there, and you can see definitely has that texture. But sometimes when you have a clip in that area, it will sort of ride on your pocket and grip. So either way, I mean, that works out pretty well. I actually do like the fact that you can get on this really easy. I'm kind of torn. It's not as discreet, but at the same time, it's a flashlight, so who cares? Very easy and convenient. Goes in and out of your pocket with ease. The Archer 2A is definitely neat. I like this flashlight quite a bit. The Mini here, well, let's check it out. No problem. Goes into your pocket. Pretty low profile. And you'll notice when I first put it in here, it slides down and kind of hits that point. I need to just promote it a little bit deeper. Now, if I was to accidentally bump that button, you'll notice the light does come on. So you need to be a little bit careful, where I think it would be quite easy to accidentally lean on that. And, well, these pants have been melted before. If you've watched my prior videos, I melted straight through my pockets on these with another flashlight. I don't think that would happen here. This is certainly not going to get hot enough, but just something to note that if you push this in your pocket, there is the potential to push on that button. But let's just say I wanted to get this out into the field. The nice thing is, well, I certainly could do that. I should have the ability to clip this right on my cap, which the direction this clip is mounted makes it just a little bit tight there. I do prefer sometimes when these clips are the other way, because you'll see this actually slides right on no problem and goes all the way down. So do I have the ability to reverse this? Not really. So that's a little bit of a shame. I kind of wish it clipped down here and it was the reverse of this. But not a big deal. You do have the ability to get that on your cap. Now you'll notice it is going to spread that out quite a bit. Stress on the clip and probably bend that out over time, but you can do it. It is not quite as secure, but again, you definitely have that ability if you want to do that. I know a lot of people like to do that. I have some friends that do that religiously, but again, it kind of works better if the clip's the other way around, because you're taking advantage of that sort of gap there. So overall, Archer Mini, definitely cool, but a little bit of a limitation. And so there, the Archer Thrunite 2A version 3 and the Thrunite Archer Mini. Very good, both of these fantastic lights. I'll be honest, when I sort of wanted to take a look at these, I thought they'd be a little more comparable. They're really not, completely different flashlights, and I think the reason being the original, like Archer 1A, was really more the slimmed down size of the 2A. So the Mini, definitely a very small and capable light for its size. That high mode is pretty impressive. A good amount of throw and nice beam for such a tight little flashlight. I mean, look how tiny this is. So the idea being that just nice throw, that decent beam overall, pretty impressive. And the fact that it's rechargeable, that's absolutely fantastic. The 2A, definitely a nice flashlight as well. I do like it. I think the form factor's pretty good, but just a little bit long. I could see this working well for an inspector. I could see it working well for probably like law enforcement. I wouldn't necessarily say as a primary light, but maybe a backup flashlight. Definitely nice. So I do like it. The clip placement a little bit funny. I've been carrying it like this now and it's not bad, but I do think just sliding it up sort of higher up on the barrel of the flashlight does work a little bit better. But all in all, always nice products coming from Thrunite. They do a fantastic job. There's so many different models out there that, you know, you really can't go wrong. There's going to be a Thrunite flashlight for you. If I had to pick between these, this mini is pretty awesome. The only other thing I think would be maybe potentially reversing the clip around for my needs. I do like the fact that it has the sort of two-direction clip. I just kind of wish it was the other way around so that the fat part could go on the brim of my cap. But not a big deal. Definitely a nice flashlight. And so with that, that pretty much wraps this up. I would like to say thank you very much again to the people at Thrunite for providing these for review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. That channel's growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there, so if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.